Assalamu alaikum, peace. It's Coach Nazir, one of the co-founders here of OutstandingPersonalRelationships.com. And I really want to share this video because I get brothers that inbox me and ask all the time, like, about polygyny. They're like, okay, all right, you marry more than one woman. Why would you want to marry more than one woman? I hardly ever get that question. All right, that usually comes from people that are like, look, I'm not about to marry a second woman when I can just have all these women without marrying them. All right, so since that's not an option, nor is it something that's honorable, I'm not going to talk about, just having women. What's the point of that? All right, anybody can really do that. I mean, that really leads to where we are as a society today as a whole. But I'm talking about something honorable. I'm talking about marriage. So with that being said, marriage, and when it comes to men, I know that one of my wives did a video recently about choosing well. Well, we had the same responsibility. We must choose well. However, when it comes to polygyny, and I talk about becoming more than twice the man that you are, what I'm talking about is being a leader, because leadership is everything. It's really what makes the man. And leadership is nothing more than influence. First, being able to lead yourself, influencing yourself. So this is what I mean. When you think of men, strong men, what do you think of? Think of that new masculinity thing, putting the man in the dress that make him strong? Is that it? Doing the Pharrell on whatever cover or GQ or whatever he was on? Is that it? This new masculinity tank talking about what does or doesn't make somebody gay? Is that it? Nah, when we think of leadership, at least when I think of leadership, when I look at history or I look at strong individuals, I'm looking at and thinking about people that were assertive, that were strong, that were masculine, that were nurturing to their families, that weren't afraid to express love. Now, I know that the best person that ever did that is the Prophet Muhammad, ﷺ, may peace and blessings be upon him, from over 1400 years ago. He's the best example for all humanity. So much so that even Jewish guy Michael Hart wrote a book called The 100 Most Influential People of All Time. And of course, he topped the list. But I don't want to go into a historical thing. Let's go into more recent history. If we look at somebody like Malcolm X, look at the way he held himself, the way he smiled and debated and intellectually tore people apart or put them together, if you will, or got them together, right? Or you look at a Marcus Garvey, somebody who put things and took visions and manifested them with what he owned and how he showed people how to operate on a level that still 100 years later has not been equal. From the Black Star Lines and ocean liners and hotels and restaurants and apartment buildings and ocean liners. I mean, for real, ships doing international business. I can't point to one, even though there's several billionaires of the same hue. But these people, leaders, not necessarily going with the flow. Even if you look at Martin Luther King, not necessarily my first choice as a leader, but he's still a leader. He still took the pain. He had some unorthodox methods and stuff like that, and some were effective and some were not. But you couldn't deny that he was still a strong leader. He still was masculine. He still was out front. He was still willing to say what people may not have wanted to hear or the masses didn't want to hear. When we look at Huey Newton and the Black Panther Party for self-defense, we look at them standing up, fighting against white supremacy, fighting to help and allow people to be able to vote. They established the WIC program, Women, Infants, and Children program. So when we're talking about leadership, we're talking about men. That's what I'm talking about today. See, I had a conversation with some gentlemen, some older gentlemen, some elders, very respectful, and we were talking about polygyny. They had been married a number of different years. Some had been married and divorced and remarried and whatnot. And we were talking, and they was like, they really could see it being a solution for the Black community. This is something I already know in general. However, women are at a disadvantage. There are more women than men, So we have this whole quagmire going on of what's moral, what's immoral. Is it just about sex and all these different types of things? Again, marriage is something honorable. It's only the last couple hundred years where the transition went from polygyny being the norm to now being monogamy, where monogamy really protects men. And what I mean by that is you can have with monogamy, that just means you have one legal wife. That's it. Legal meaning anything that comes from that wife or that union, any children, those are who you're responsible for legally. Outside of that, you're not responsible for them. All right, that doesn't mean you can't still have your pleasures of girlfriends or boyfriends or jump downs, mistresses, whatever, side pieces or whatever they may be called, concubines. That's all fine with monogamy. So today, most people actually practice monogamy in its real intention. So we're talking about infidelity being more than 50% and more than 50% of marriages failing. then all right, that's the norm. It is what it is. Now, I'm not anti-polygyny. I'm actually, or anti-monogamy. I'm actually pro-marriage and pro-morals. It's very important. Now, I'm not coming from a position of being holier than thou and everything. Nope. No, I wasn't just a virgin until I got married and all this type of stuff. No, I was raised up on that with Christianity and so on, but that wasn't something that was practical to practice. So I left it when I was a teenager and went on my own search. But that's a video for another time. But when I'm talking about leadership, what does it take? What does real leadership look like? And it's important because we as men, we have to introspect. Who do we see? What do we see as real? I mean, right now, you're talking about every 18 or so seconds, a woman's going to the emergency room by being beat up physically by a man. That is ridiculous. I have daughters to take care of. I'm responsible for them, to maintain and help protect them. One, leaders protect. Leaders protect. Men who are leaders protect. Very, very important. Number two, now, not just protect physically, but they have to protect their minds. So when I'm watching the news and I'm seeing the word thug, I know thug is code word for nigga. When I hear all this Islamophobia stuff going on, or I hear even black folks say, well, yo, Islam or Arabs have slave or Arab slave trade, which is very interesting because slavery has existed, indentured servitude has existed in the beginning of time. When we talk about ancient Egyptians, yeah, they had slaves, and these Hebrew slaves were dark and they were black, and black folks had slaves. It is what it is. The difference is when this social construct of race became known, what we think of slavery, we think of this race-based slavery, which is not common throughout the rest of the world. But little did they know, Islam actually planted the seeds to end slavery, and the first people to ever do it were Abdul Qadir Khan, back when this country was just not trying to get formed back in the late 1700s. And this whole area stopped it. Why? Because Muslim can't enslave another Muslim. So he said, if anybody says La ilaha illallah or any part of the Quran, they're free. So there were non-Muslims saying, rah, meaning that he wanted to stop it, and he eventually did stop it for a short time. So when we think of it, we usually think of it as race-based slavery. So this Arab slave trade, it's funny how they even throw the Arab thing on it. That doesn't mean Muslims weren't involved. Muslims were involved in slavery like everybody else is involved. But just like Muslims are involved today, unfortunately, and it gets me upset and heated with liquor stores and selling pig and everything else in different communities, particularly people of color like myself, that's not representative of Islam. All right, so again, Islam already put the rules for it, meaning if you fought in a war, you're a prisoner of war, now you're taken in as a slave. All right, or again, indentured servitude, and all kinds of different rules. We're not going to go into that. If you want information on that, definitely check out Bilal Ware. Inshallah, I'll share a link below, especially with the Quran and Change, to actually see why every single upheaval against slavery, every single revolution against it in this country by enslaved Africans, whether it's here or down in Haiti or Jamaica, came from Muslims that were part of organizing that. And the importance of the Arabic language with that. I'll leave some links for you for your own study, but the point is, this is leadership. One, to protect physically, to protect mentally, to protect emotionally. That's part of manhood. Number two is to provide the information and provide those links. You can do your own study and on your own, go into it, research it, critique it, whatever. Let's share some comments back and forth. I love intellectual conversation that can help elevate us to another level. So provide information. All right, provide the means to thrive, not just survive. All right, we're beyond that agricultural stage of just surviving. We're even really evolved past the information age right now. So being able to thrive, being able to figure out systems and ways to make sure that you not only have food, shelter, and clothing, but you have even extra and more comforts and can add that to many more people who do not have the same fortune as you do. And the next, they're able to implement personal power, have self-discipline, direct themselves in a way to achieve a goal or an outcome that they desire, and expand to help other people do it so a legacy lives on beyond them. So 3 things: protect, you provide, you implement personal power. So those are 3 things that I think are essential to leadership. I know that there's no leader that I respect personally that didn't have those 3 things. Whether or not a woman likes polygyny or not, at this point, really doesn't matter, but it makes you that much more attractive as a leader. So if you are interested in properly practicing polygyny with marrying more than one woman, And I'm talking about strong women or women that you want to help empower to be strong, or you work on something together that adds value to you and you add value to her or them, then leadership is essential. Where do you start? Study some leaders. One of the books I really like, one of my favorites, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. It could be 360-degree leader. Be books like Good to Great, even Think and Grow Rich. All right, the Seerah of the Prophet, the greatest leader of all time. So there are many different places to start. The point is to get started. I don't care if you're looking up the life of Huey Newton, the autobiography of Malcolm X, which is a great resource. But leadership, nothing more, nothing less. It's our responsibility. We must pass it on to our sons, or other people will pass it on. And they'll look like Pharrell. They'll look like they don't know whether or not it's cool to just cozy up with another guy. And yeah, that's the new masculinity. No, it's not. We're not going to let that ride. So let the real men raise to the top. All right, appreciate you. Remember, wish changes nothing, but a decision changes everything. Make sure you visit us, outstandingpersonalrelationships.com. Share this information if you like it. Smash the like tab or subscribe or what have you. I look forward to serving more. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.